My name is Jess, and I lead the development of the New Zealand Taxonomy on behalf of the Centre for Sustainable Finance. CSF provides the secretariat and coordination functions for the development of the New Zealand Taxonomy. So, a sustainable finance taxonomy is pretty simply a classification system for sustainable activities in different sectors. Many financial institutions will have their own internal taxonomies or frameworks for decisions about capital allocation. But by having an open source taxonomy, we have clear, transparent, and highly credible criteria available to decision makers. By reducing the cost, friction, and risks associated with assessing the sustainability credentials of different activities, the New Zealand taxonomy intends to aid the flow of capital to such activities. In New Zealand, our work has started with the development of definitions and criteria for activities which contribute to climate change mitigation, as well as adaptation and resilience for the agriculture and forestry sectors in 2025. And now in 2026, we are focused on the energy sector and the construction and building sector. Next slide, please. So this is the purpose of the New Zealand taxonomy, and you can read more about the development of this purpose as well as the design priorities on the CSF website in the ITAG report. But the purpose here is to direct and mobilise capital towards those activities that align us to a net zero future, that restore nature, and that uphold the rights of Indigenous peoples. The activities included in the New Zealand taxonomy can be thought of as a shopping list for the future. They set out the goalposts that we are moving towards and stake out which activities are compatible with a net zero Paris-aligned 2050 economy. And by doing so, they provide investors with confidence and the industries with a North Star to aim at. By setting these long-term environmental goalposts, the taxonomy intends to support businesses and investors to align current decision-making with an environmentally sustainable and resilient economic system in the long term. Next slide, please. So these are some of the use cases for the New Zealand taxonomy. And it's worth noting that its primary users will be financial institutions. We're seeing taxonomies globally being used by bond issuers and insurers as well. Anyone who's looking for credible ways to assess sustainability claims and risks. For businesses, the aim is ultimately to increase the quantum of finance available for sustainable activities and aid them in attracting this capital. We are also seeing taxonomies being used by businesses to demonstrate alignment with global customer expectations, in telling their sustainability stories, and in enabling efficient access to global markets. Next slide, please. So an important reminder that the New Zealand taxonomy is, of course, a voluntary framework for both the sectors that are being classified and for financial institutions. It provides decision-useful information by setting clear criteria for what effective climate change mitigation, adaptation, and resilience activities look like. But it remains at the discretion of any business owner or operator if they wish to undertake any of those activities. And likewise, it is at the discretion of any financial institution or investor if they wish to use this information in capital allocation decisions. And of course, there will also be a range of other information that they use in this decision making. Just a final point to highlight on this slide, the New Zealand taxonomy is a specific tool and it's doing one job, which is making options for environmentally sustainable capital allocation decisions clearer. It cannot manage considerations for wider sector or economic transitions, and these remain firmly in the remit of government planning and policy and industry action. And I'll talk about some of the implications in the energy system transition for this in a second. But just quickly to cover why New Zealand is developing a sustainable finance taxonomy, if we go to the next slide. Sustainable finance taxonomies are implemented or in development in more than 50 jurisdictions globally. And as they are developed and adopted, the risk is that international investment applies the criteria developed in Europe or China or other jurisdictions to assessing New Zealand businesses. The other risk is that the increased friction of having no comparable framework and New Zealand being a small optional market for investment means that we miss out on opportunities to attract capital. So this is the reason that we are working to develop a domestically relevant but globally interoperable sustainable finance taxonomy for New Zealand. Next slide, please. And this shows the status of the New Zealand, of the global taxonomy project. Countries that are in development or have already implemented their sustainable finance taxonomies. Next slide, please. So, as we talked about, the New Zealand taxonomy is not a replacement or a proxy for sectorial planning or policy, and it only provides criteria to assess the environmental performance of economic activities. It does not and is not the appropriate mechanism to assess system-level requirements. That said, we know there are some very important system-level considerations, such as security and affordability, that are particularly relevant for the energy sector. As such, in the development of the draft criteria, the technical groups have taken a do-no-harm approach to these important areas. And throughout this consult, we are very keen to hear from experts who might have views on this. The technical groups have also considered providing some guidance for giving consideration to these wider system issues in relation to investments, and we welcome expert views on the inclusion and scope of this guidance as well.